Good afternoon. Today's lesson in math was on using place value to subtract. And what we were basically trying to do is show that we could subtract three-digit numbers and use place value to do that. So we started with the problem 473 minus 294. In the first step that we take, we need to estimate to kind of get an idea of where our answer should be. So what we did is when we were estimating, we just pretty much decided how to round it to the nearest hundred. And so we had 500 minus 300 equals 200. Next, the second step was to subtract the ones place. Some of your friends have issues figuring out which one is the ones place still, but I circled it here for them. So we talked about the fact that we couldn't take 4 away from 3 because we didn't have enough. So that 3 was less than 4. So that meant we had to regroup, or the famous word borrow, from the tens place. So we cross our 3 out. We cross our 7 out in the tens place and make it a 6. And then we bring 10 back over. So we add 3 to 10 to make 13. Then we can subtract 13 minus 4 and get 9. Then in step 3, we're going to subtract the tens place. So keeping everything the same in the ones place, 13 is the number that we had there, minus 4 would equal 9. We're going to look at the tens place then. We had a 7, which changed to a 6. And we decided we could not take 9 away from 6, so we needed to borrow from the hundreds place. So we went over to the hundreds place, reduced it by 1, making 4 a 3, and then brought 100 back. Well, when we do that, the 0 in the ones place drops over into this ones place, and we add the 10 plus the 6 at this point. Or basically, we're adding 100 plus 60. So 10 plus 6 would be 16. Or 100 plus 60 would be 160 with the 0 falling in the ones place. We would subtract 16 minus 9 to get 7. Again, we had to borrow your famous word. Your child may say regroup to you. Finally, step 4, we're going to subtract the hundreds place. So keeping everything in line, 13 minus 4 would be 9. 16 minus 9 would be 7. And we can subtract 2 from 3 here. So 3 minus 2 would be 1. Our final step is to check our answer with addition. So we need to take the answer to our subtraction problem and add it to the smaller of the two numbers that we're subtracting. And when we do that, we should get the larger of the two numbers to make sure our answer is correct. So 179 plus 294 would be 473. Let's try another one together so you can see how I walk through these steps. So step 1 is to estimate, and my problem is 540 minus 327. So 540 would be closer to 500, and 327 would be closer to 300. So I'm going to subtract, and 5 minus 3 will be 2. Okay, so my answer should be close to 200. It doesn't have to automatically round there, but it should be close. Okay, so when I start looking at my ones place, I notice I have a 0 on top and a 7 on the bottom. I can't take 7 away from 0, so I'm going to have to go to the tens place and borrow a 10. So I'm going to cross out my 4, make that a 3, and I'm bringing 10 back over here, so 10 plus 0 will equal 10. And 10 minus 7 would be 3. Then I look at my tens place. Can I subtract 2 from 3? Well, I can. I have 3. I can take 2 away from that. So that would be 1. And then I go to my hundreds place and look again. Can I subtract 3 from 5? Well, I can get 3 out of this 5. So 5 minus 3 is 2. So my answer is 213. And as you can see, it's fairly close. Now I'm going to check my answer and make sure that 213 plus 327 will equal 540. So 213 plus 327, 3 plus 7 is 10. We put down a 0 and regroup a 1. 1 plus 2 is 3, plus 1 more is 4. And 2 plus 3 is 5. And there I have my answer, and I've checked it to prove that it's correct. These are the simple steps of using place value to subtract. This is what should show on your child's paper as they work through these problems tonight. Their homework tonight was in their math book, page 45. That's the big book. Okay. And they are to work number 2 through 20, evens only. If you feel they need some extra practice, go for a couple of the odds. That's okay. But their homework was the evens, and that's what I'm going to be looking for when I check homework. I hope this was helpful. If you have further questions or your child is stuck on a particular one, skip on over it and send me an email about the one they had a problem with, and I'll be glad to go over it tomorrow in class. Thank you. Have a good evening.